What's going on, housemates? Marcelo here, and I'm recording this video the day after Arsenal's 1-0 win against Ipswich. It was probably one of the least memorable games that we'll see from this Arsenal side in a long time. Wasn't the most eventful game. We were absolutely dominant, from start to finish. And I think it is one of those games where we very easily could have scored three or four. And it is one of those games where you actually would have hoped we scored three or four, because we can't underestimate the importance of goal differential in what is going to be a really tight season. Hopefully, right? Although Liverpool continues to look like a team that is not going to let up anytime soon, we are doing our job. And so we move up to second place with this win above Chelsea. And it's nice to be above Chelsea, given how much we despise Chelsea, but also just for the sake of keeping momentum alive and belief in this project, because we are still in a title race despite being, 9 points behind Liverpool when they, if they win their game in hand, I should say. But we're in a decent position going into 2025, right? We are in a title race in the Carabao Cup semifinal. FA Cup is about to begin, and United is still looking awful. And we are in a great position in the Champions League table as well. I really don't have much to say about the game itself. In all honesty, it was a very uneventful game. But the main talking point, of course, has to be Myles Lewis-Skelly. He's just a brilliant player for an 18-year-old. He looks like such a seasoned veteran. The way that he's able to turn out of pressure, receive the ball facing his own goal and turn out. His strength going into challenges, riding challenges, 50-50 duels, picking a pass, his technical capacity, even just you saw him kind of getting stuck in a bit or chirping a bit with Delap and Calvin Phillips. He's a player with a lot of character, a lot of personality, and to have that at 18 is really rare. We look at Ethan Nwaneri, who is a brilliant player when he has the ball, right? And in finding spaces, pockets to be threatening. But his personality is mostly when he's dribbling, right? Otherwise, he's a very reserved kid. And that doesn't matter at the end of the day when we're talking about how good of a footballer they are. But it is a bonus to have when you have that personality. It's the type of thing that can inspire the crowd, right? If the fans are maybe a little bit quieter, or they need something to get excited about, when you win a 50-50 duel or you do something out of the ordinary, unexpected, that sort of lifts people up a little bit. Lewis-Skelly clearly has that quality in a way that's different from Nwaneri, but no need to compare them both because we're so blessed to have them. But anyways, it's Lewis-Skelly's to lose now, right? That left back position feels like it's his. They're going to have to be mindful, of course, about his minutes because he's still so young. And you don't want to load him up with too many minutes so early on. But again, with his physical profile, he seems like he's well capable of coping with it now. And that's really exciting to see. So it's also an ideal situation because of Ricardo Calafiori's, injury proneness, how susceptible he is to being injured. So this sort of allows us to ease him back in without putting too much pressure on him in the way that Jurrien Timber unfortunately has had to maneuver. But he's been incredible himself. And that fullback pairing of Lewis-Skelly and Timber, they really are like identical players on the opposite sides of the pitch. They're both so strong. You can just see in their build, they're just really tough to knock off the ball, to push off the ball, and to really trouble physically. But they're technically so sound as well. And so we're really fortunate in that regard. Again, otherwise, it was a pretty uneventful game. The one real shocker was Gabriel missing a header from 2 feet out, one that he could score with his eyes closed every day of the week. I was sort of lost for words seeing him miss that. Luckily, it didn't come back to haunt us Ipswich almost scored in the first few seconds again. That was a moment where you wonder what's happening here. But anyways, I'm kind of just jumping around to different bits now. But all in all, we didn't need a pretty win, a fancy win. We just needed the 3 points, wrap up the year. That's 5 in our last 5 games, 3 wins, 2 draws. I said it in the preview video as well, but you got to say it looks a little less poor from us tying to Fulham and Everton, who then went on to beat Chelsea and draw to City at home, albeit City being in shocking form. But the last thing I want to talk about here is Bukayo Saka. Now, apparently he's received surgery on his hamstring, and oftentimes that means that his season could well be more or less finished. At most, he might be brought back for the last month of the season. But again, hamstrings can be a very difficult thing to recover from when it's a full tear. And so I'm hesitant to even see Saka play again this season. It might be best for his own sake to just rest and recover and strengthen himself all the way so he can return to his best next season. Obviously, that would be an unquantifiable dent in our aspirations for this season. But if we want to have Saka playing the type of football he plays and continue on this ascent, getting better year in, year out, we don't want to risk making his situation even worse. So it just goes to beg the question, man. Like, we have to make something happen in January if we're serious about winning silverware this season. We're capable of stepping up in his absence, but playing consistently on the level that we were with him, it's just unrealistic, I think. So whether it's someone like Semenyo or Mbeumo, those are more realistic in terms of our financial capacity right now. But we'll have to overpay for either of them because it's mid-season. Both of them, well, really Bournemouth is pushing for Europe. Brentford, not as much the case, but they just lost the Ivan Toney, and Mbeumo and Wissa have a great partnership. So whatever we do, it's going to be really tough. But I don't think we can just watch Bukayo Saka miss 4 months of football and do nothing about it. So 4 days away from the transfer window opening, and we're going to have to keep a close eye on what we end up doing. So obviously, we'll be in touch about that, and I'm looking forward to speaking more at length about what we can do in the January transfer window, although my hopes aren't that high. So we'll keep an eye out, and I will speak to you all very soon, but I hope you enjoyed another Arsenal win, albeit a very bland one, if that's the word to describe it. So until next time, as always, thank you for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, turn on notifications as we continue to grow this community beyond Instagram. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon. Come on, you Gunners. Peace.